A not-for-profit organization for whom I did a virtual program about invisible disabilities got a lot of requests from employees to have me back for another program, so they reached out. And of course I was thrilled. We decided to do something different and did a fireside chat format, focusing on employees' submitted questions and topics. This isn't footage from the program. I had just set up a side camera to capture a behind-the-scenes look. I wanted to share the vibe and my dandelion story.
And I'm actually sitting today, which I don't normally do because I have a sitting disability, but I thought for the fireside chat it would make me feel more in the vibe. And okay. But my sweet partner, he usually brings in my stepladder from the garage that I set my laptop and camera up at. And he asked me this morning, he said, do you want me to bring the ladder in? I said, no, this is a fireside chat. I'm going to be sitting, but could you please bring in the fireplace? And he's just very serious. He's like, well, what's that mean? I'm like, I'm just being funny. Something that was really profound one time was when my osteoarthritis, I now actually have a visible disability. I'll hold my hand up to the camera, you can see the deformities in my knuckles now. And it's so fascinating to me. I can tell people how much my back hurts. I can tell people how tired I am. I can tell people. And then whenever I actually show somebody this, that's when they really connect. I'm almost grateful for these ugly, gnarly knuckles because it's like, ha ha ha, it's real, I have proof now, you know? But the other thing I wanted to add was that they don't understand how jealous I am. And I hate to use the word jealousy because I don't like the word jealousy at all. I don't like that behavior. I think I need to come up with ways to not feel that way. But I am. And I feel like people take things for granted that I can't do. Like sitting in a chair without pain. Like, you know, being able to work on their novels all day if they're a professional, or like all these things. And it's just, it hurts, it's hard. So, and I have like arrived through the grieving process. There's I guess two paths of the grief. There's like the initial, like, let's get through the grieving process and get as good as you can get with it. And I'm there, I'm good. And then there's the one that's ongoing. And it's big things and little things. Yesterday I grieved because I was just too tired to really, you know, go for a walk or go to the store with my partner or do things we do on his days off. And I was just not feeling up to it, and I grieved for that lost time together. So it's like daily things that we grieve about. People might not understand our grief and that it's constant. And for a lot of us, for a lot of our conditions, it's only going to get worse. And I'm scared. And I don't talk about that a lot because I don't want to feel it. I kind of push that in the back because I don't want to think about it, but I'm scared. Yeah, and but you're too young for that. And then I just say, yeah, I know. It's the best way to hold space for somebody and to not keep that stigma going is to just let go of all the assumptions. One of the things that's really important is to not decide for us what we can or can't do. Like the things folks try to do to help and the harm in that, like the protective things that folks do. Trying to say that, oh, we shouldn't ask Christina to do that task because it's going to be too much for her. Yes. Ask me. Let me decide for myself. I'll give you a real life example. You can apply this to anything. It's we have Uncle Mike is our cat sitter. It's a friend of ours, and he lives like a half hour away. And last time we went out of town, my partner's like, well, you know, I should, you know, see if somebody else can watch the cats while we go because Mike lives so far away. And you know, it might be a lot for him. And I said, why don't you ask him and let him decide for himself if that's too much for him? And he's like, yeah, I guess you're right. So he did, and Mike's like, absolutely. Like, even on the day that I had my mom lined up, Mike was still at the house. She walked in the house, he was asleep on the couch with the cats. Like, that's how much. So yeah, let us decide for ourselves what we can and can't do. And another thing is that people do that is good and tries to help that can be detrimental is offering solutions. Like that immediate, like, oh, have you tried this?
Have you tried yoga?
Or even, and this doesn't seem harmful, but not offering a solution, but asking us, the first thing you ask is like, what do you take for that? I get that so many times when I disclose to somebody for the first time. The first thing they say is, what do you take for that? They're so focused on my treatment and how I make it go away, rather than wanting to understand my actual experience and being in the space. It's like they want it to go away for their own comfort, is how it can feel. One of the most beautiful things somebody ever said to me, and I was just so blown away, and it was so simple, is I disclosed my disability to somebody, and instead of, what do you take for that? They just said, oh, what's that like? And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, come along with me. Yeah. You want to hang out with me and you want to know my stuff? That's so great. And it was really nice. And with that, I felt safe. And the final thing I want to say about that is stereotypes. Just let them go. Just let them go. Just put them on a little boat in your brain and say bye and send it downstream. Just send it away. Bye stereotypes. So what can I do as far as the stigma? I think the internal work we do for ourselves is pretty close to what other, if not identical to what other folks should do for us. And I would say maybe start with word associations. Like step away from it and look at that word, fibromyalgia. What do I associate with fibromyalgia? What's that word association? Okay, put it on a boat and send it away. As a way to like get rid of negative thoughts, negative thinking, take that thing that you don't want in your head and imagine it on a little boat and just let it float away. And it actually, I've done it and I try it, and obviously it doesn't fix everything, but it's helpful in the moment and it gives me a good perspective. So I would say identify those negative word associations you have and send them away and know that that's toxic and that's not okay and that's not good. Here's the thing about words and stigma. And stigma is like what other folks have in their minds about something. It's not that thing itself. And I just want to talk about dandelions. So when I was a little girl, there was these little yellow flowers in my yard and they were really pretty. And I would pick them and give them to my mom. And I felt really proud of myself for giving my mom flowers. And then one day somebody told me that dandelions are a weed. And totally changed how I felt about giving my mom a bouquet of dandelions. And the dandelions were no different. They were still exactly the same in who they were. Like, they were still beautiful. They were still yellow and bright and happy. And I'm sure mom would today love a bouquet of dandelions from me. So we have to understand that we are no different. We are no different. We are still us. We are still beautiful. We are still whole. We are still perfect in our way. And any kind of societal perception about us, that's theirs. And it doesn't change who we are. It's the absolute best accommodation ever, anywhere, and that's information. Information. And one of the best pieces of information to provide to be accessible in virtual or in a physical space is expectations. I realize that I may not be in control of the meeting. I may not be in control of the space. There's very few things I am in control of. You are in control, you're the boss or whatever. But if you let me know what you expect of me, I at least have a chance to prepare. I at least have a chance to, oh, you expect everybody to be on camera in this meeting. Okay, well that's good to know. I will make sure I'm on camera. If you don't expect everybody to be on camera, let us know that information as well. You expect people to contribute and answer questions. Okay, great. Can I have those questions ahead of time if possible? Like today, you were very accommodating of me. We talked about, ahead of time what questions we want to use today, even though we're being so cool making it flow naturally. I have notes, look. And that is such a great accommodation for me, is to have that preparation, and so I can have my notes ready in a place where I can glance at them. That's amazing. Triggers is something important to know, and I'm gonna actually, since I'm prepared, paste in the chat. I have on my website lists of triggers. And, oh, I hate when I click away from there we go. And triggers, FYI, they could be sensory triggers. Fluorescent lights can be very difficult for people. Perfumes and scents and things like that. Also, as far as accessibility goes, let us feel safe bringing our own. And what I mean by that is, I was just at a professionals conference and a writers conference, and I carried a yoga block around with me. And I felt comfortable and safe doing that. Partly because I'm just bold. But I used it for a footrest to help me sit in the chairs with a little less pain. I have a yoga block under my feet right now. Actually, I keep it in the trunk of my car, and I was at game night at a friend's house the other night, and I was like, hey honey, can you go get my yoga block? Be welcoming and accepting. Mobility aids or accessibility aids aren't always a cane. Sometimes it's different things. Somebody might be wearing sunglasses inside. It's not because they're being rude. They might have a migraine. So just be open-minded. I think I have 3 favorite accessibility things. 1 is communication. And in no particular order. 2 is welcome our personal modifications that we've come up with because we are the experts. And 3, flexibility, 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 flexibility. Yeah. Somebody just wanted to ask, should I talk about it? Should I tell people? Gosh, that's a different answer for everybody, isn't it? Me, I'm like, yes. Yes, you should tell people. And I'll tell you all the reasons why. But actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste a little, this is not a fancy video. It's a little, what I call down and dirty. But it's good reasons to talk about, it's on my YouTube channel, why it's helpful to talk about your invisible disability, what good you can do for the world by opening up about it, and good you can do for yourself. So know your official people, know your unofficial people, know your safe people, your safe spaces where you can feel comfortable, if for nothing else, practicing talking about it. And
Excellent suggestion, yes.
anything that we are afraid of or nervous of doing, look, I'm nervous all the time as a speaker. I'm nervous right now. I just am. I did, you said in my introduction, over 700 shows, stand-up comedy, nervous every single one of them. For a lot of us, fear never goes away. It just stops stopping us. And the best way to get through that is to practice and start easy. It does get easier and easier as you practice. It's the same as going to the gym and working out. I'm not telling you to do that. I don't. A lot of times it is our own internalized stigma that we have to work through, and imposter syndrome. Often we feel like somebody else has it worse. I'm not disabled enough to call myself disabled. This session has been everything, somebody said. Yay! All I want to say is, if I can ever do anything for you, answer anything, be there for you. Here's my email address. We're friends now. That's to all attendees. Say thank you, thank you, thank you. I wish you all so well. If I can ever do anything for you, reach out. Bye, everybody. Take care.